ARIEL HELWANI post-fight at UFC 113 with UFC President Dana White. Dana, obviously a lot to talk about. Let's start with the positives first. Shogun Rua wins the light heavyweight title. How impressive was that performance?
It was unbelievable. How do you explain knocking out Machida in the first round the way that he did? I can't even come up with a word for it. Other than Shogun's back, he looked incredible tonight. Very aggressive. No staying in there trading leg kicks and doing. He came in to finish that fight and did it.
After his performance against Forrest Griffin a few years back and then the knee surgeries, did you think that he'd be able to be this good and eventually be the champion?
Well, if you look back to what I used to say back then, coming off back-to-back knee surgeries, I don't care who you are. Ring rust is real, and you've got to get back in, stay active, be busy, and continuously fight. We kept him busy. There was a lot of criticism about the Mark Coleman fight and things like that. Well, we were right, and most of you were wrong. So.
Yes, always reminding the fans that at the end of the day, you are right. How do you explain what is going on with Lyoto Machida now? For a long time, no one can figure him out. Some say he lost that first fight. Now, how he looks tonight. How do you explain this?
I don't think it's about people figuring him out. I think it's that matchup with Shogun. Shogun came in with nasty leg kicks. Shogun's got great leg kicks, great kicks to the body, and he's a hard puncher. People who were huge Shogun fans when he was coming over from Pride remember the things he did. The other thing that he's really impressive is when he gets in your guard and comes down with those punches on the ground and pound position, very powerful. He knocks people out like that, and you saw it tonight. He put Lyoto out, and he knew he was out and immediately stopped. Didn't have to be stopped by the ref, which I really respect too.
I'll ask the question again. Rampage Rashad, is the winner of that fight going to face Shogun?
I was just in there doing an interview with ESPN, and Rashad was all over me about it. Obviously, more than likely, yes, one of those two are going to get the fight. Get the shot at the title. So we'll see what happens.
Unfortunately, there were some negatives tonight. Paul Daley and his I guess you could call it sucker punch after the Josh Kosek fight. You announced at the press conference that he is done with the UFC. Is that correct, and why?
Yeah, he'll never fight in the UFC ever again. Listen, many people know I'm probably one of the most lenient guys in sports, and this is probably one of the most lenient organizations. The way that I look at these guys is, yes, they're professional athletes. At the end of the day, they're human beings, and everybody makes mistakes. We all make mistakes, but there's no place in this sport or this business for stuff like that. And what bothered me even more was his answer when I went up into the octagon and talked to him after. He said, "Nah, I didn't hear the bell." And when I asked him, "Do you want to continue fighting in the UFC?" He shrugged his shoulders and turned his, well, there you go. Now you won't.
So had he not answered it that way, is it possible that he might have stuck around?
I don't know. Probably not. But that didn't help.
Have you talked to him backstage? Maybe the heat of the moment, anything like that?
I don't care. There's a heat of the moment. You don't ever listen. Lots of guys talk trash. Lots of guys are frustrated. First of all, I think that Paul Daley is one of the best 170 pounders. Listen, England isn't known for their wrestling. Okay, he looked good tonight. Kosek didn't take him down at will. Kosek had a couple times where he had to work to take him down, and I don't think Daley looked horrible tonight. He's knocked out all the top guys at 170, gets in there with Kosek, who's a seasoned guy, has been around for a long time, trained with a lot of great people, and has a wrestling background. And to blatantly walk up and punch a guy long after the bell rang, it's just there's no place for that in this organization. And I don't care if he becomes the pound-for-pound best in the world and everybody's screaming him for him to be in the UFC, it won't happen.
So just to be clear, even if he reaches out to you in a week and apologizes, whatever, he's done?
No, he's done.
How about Josh Kosek? Obviously, the fans here in Montreal don't like him. He took a shot at the Canadians, but in the first round, there was that questionable knee, sort of like what happened in the Anthony Johnson fight. What is your take on that and sort of how he's been received now by the fans?
I told Kosek that, that knee, you didn't get hit with that knee, and he said, I did get hit with that knee. So at the end of the day, listen, we're out there and we see the replay. It looked to me like it grazed his hair. Like the worst thing that could have happened was a fractured hair from that. But he says he got hit with the knee. Who were we to really say what he felt with that knee? He said he didn't know if he got hit in the eye or whatever happened. I'll tell you honestly what I saw and what I thought is that he did not get hit with that knee, and he claims he did. So what are you going to do?
So GSP is now going to fight Kosek. They're going to be the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, right?
Correct.
Would that fight probably happen in December, just based on history here, with the September show starting and then December?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, just a couple more things before we let you go here. You said Kimbo Slice is done. Why?
First of all, Kimbo took me up on the challenge. Like I said before, he could have done a lot of freak show fights and done a lot of different things. He stepped up to the plate. He took the challenge, came on the Ultimate Fighter, and I'm happy to have met Kimbo Slice. He's not who I thought he was. He's a good guy. He came in. He worked hard. He's done everything he could to evolve as a mixed martial artist, and he won that fight. He won the fight to get him this fight against Houston Alexander, and he lost tonight. The Kimbo Slice is no different than any of the other guys that don't make the cut, and end up getting cut from the UFC. He's impressed me as a human being and as a fighter, and I like him and the guys who represent him very much. I'm glad to have met Kimbo Slice.
But there's still no denying that he's a huge draw. So as a promoter, you wouldn't want to put him out there one more time?
It's not about being a huge draw. It's about having the right to be here. Because whether you're a big draw or not, this is about the sport and about who's the best. And there's other people out here that there's other people out there who deserve to be in the UFC.
Finally, could you quickly touch on Mitrione and Belcher? I know you were very impressed with them. You talked about them at the press conference. Both of those guys, they, different points in their career, but very much looking very good as of late.
Yeah, I've been watching Belcher for a while, and I've been impressed with him. I think he gets better every time that he fights. He's a very, very aggressive guy, and tonight when I was watching him, I have a lot of respect for Patrick Cote. Cote is a tough guy, can knock you out with either hand, will stay in the pocket and scrap with anybody. When he was getting hit with those kicks to the body tonight, it reminded me of the time that I was in Japan and I saw Nogueira fight Krokop. And every time Krokop would kick Nog to the body, you saw the marks instantly appear on his body, and I saw that tonight with Belcher. And Belcher's become more aggressive, more confident in himself, and willing to mix it up with anybody. I think he's in the mix right now. I like him a lot. And Mitrione, tonight was his second pro fight. He came out against a guy who has a lot of hype on him, and a guy who's evolved as a mixed martial artist too, and wanted to come in and win this fight. And there's a lot of things that play into a fight like this: nervousness, excitement, And I thought he carried himself well tonight. He needs to just get a little more experience, and we'll see what happens to Mitrione.
Safe to say you can finally put UFC 97 to bed. You could put it to rest, the ugly memory of that fight last year here in Montreal.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'll ever put it to rest, because I don't do that. I'm always going to remember that. That's my I don't ever want this to happen again. And how can I make sure that this doesn't happen again, that when the fans buy tickets for a UFC event or they put their money down for pay-per-view, they end up getting finishes like tonight, like Shogun versus Machida and stuff like that. So, yes, it feels good to not be moping around and thinking about it and driving you crazy, but I'll never forget it.
Thank you very much for the time, Dana.
Thank you, buddy.